for the first topic of this evening, we gotta address Trump dropping the ball. Trump dropped the ball here because he had a chance to do something historic, which would have been to pardon Julian Assange. Instead, he pardoned Lil Wayne, who I'm sure he pardoned because he endorsed him. He pardoned Kodak Black, which is cool, like free my homie Kodak. That's all. I mean, I'm happy for the kid. But you had a chance to be a revolutionary. You had a chance to leave office, at least giving some people the idea that, well, maybe he wasn't all that bad. Maybe he wasn't that much of a puppet. Maybe he wasn't going to, maybe he'll do something to preserve democracy, not only in the United States, but abroad. But instead, he does the opposite. He, like a coward, he just walks away, allowing Julian Assange to be left in Belmarsh prison, which is the Guantanamo Bay of the UK. Despite the fact that the UK did deny his extradition. He's in limbo right now. Okay. We have no idea what's going to happen to him, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good because we understand that the Obama administration, while Joe Biden was VP, was largely instrumental in making sure that Julian Assange was handled in the way that he has been over the last few years. When Trump celebrated Julian Assange during the debates, a lot of people thought that this was actually going to be an opportunity for Trump to spite the establishment, because the establishment at the time was attacking him vehemently. It would have been an opportunity for him to spite the establishment and pardon Julian Assange, so that he could go on to expose some of his enemies, even maybe even some of his allies, but definitely a lot of them would be. I think he would consider his enemies. He didn't do that though. I think that for a lot of people, this isn't an attack on Trump supporters, by the way. So don't mistake this as that, because this isn't it. I know that y'all believe, based on his words at the time, that he was going to pardon Julian Assange. It would have been the most common sense thing to do. But I think it's time to accept the fact that Donald Trump's president, if you're a Trump supporter, you have to accept the fact that Donald Trump's presidency was a disappointment. I'm not saying that you can't celebrate the great things that he's done, because the North Korea, South Korea thing is actually more important to international politics than people are giving credit for. Right? It's brilliant. I'm never going to, Park, I think his name is Park Ji-sung. No, is it? Moon. It's Moon. President Moon for the president of South Korea at the time of that deal being broken. He even credited Trump in his willingness to sit down and broker an agreement between both sides. So that's a great thing. The few times he attempted to stay out of Syria, he tried to pull us out of Syria. Then of course, we bombed them because of a fake chemical weapon attack that didn't happen. And that cycle happened. And I wish he would have stood up to that more fervently, but he tried. Okay, I'll give him that. He fired a bunch of Pentagon officials who were refusing to leave out of Afghanistan and Syria and Iraq. I get it. There are things to celebrate. There are things to give him credit for. However, dropping the ball on Julian Assange was massive. Not allowing the establishment Democrats to take hold of the entire electoral apparatus under your nose via elections, ESNS software, so election system and software, and what's this the Dominion voting software. Allowing that to happen right under your nose when you know how the Democrats play, unacceptable, right? He didn't start any new wars, so I guess that's a good thing. However, he continued the bombing of several different nations. He allowed the assassination of Soleimani to go unpunished because that was clearly done under his nose. It violated international law and brought on a powder keg. We almost sparked World War III because of that. Right? He spent way too much time demonizing and scapegoating when he could have been working with multiple sides. Now, I'm not talking about, I understand the Democrats, they're full of shit, right? They were just going to be contrarian and make sure that nothing he did was successful. But there were a lot of things that were in his control that he could have done to make this world a much better place. And he could have carved out a spot in history that maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but because of just how much we pay attention to these things now, he could have carved out a very special spot in history. So like, yeah, he was pretty bad, but he wasn't as bad as other people. And although that may be true to some degree, like, he'll largely be seen as another puppet. And that's sad. It's sad. I feel bad for his supporters a lot of people, I know some people who switch from left to conservative to support Trump. Because he talked a big game. But like, dropping the ball on Julian Assange, that's not something that you can forgive. That's not something I haven't forgiven Bernie for it. I haven't forgiven, Tulsi is great on it, so I never had to worry about that. People still view you as redeemable if you get the Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden reality winner. If you get these issues, the issue of freedom of the press and whistleblower protections correct, people view you as redeemable. But when you drop the ball in such a spectacular fashion, when in my opinion you really have nothing to lose, that's you can't come back from that. You let Julian Assange down. I feel like you let the majority of your supporters, whom many supported you because of your support of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. They thought you were going to do something that was noteworthy. You let them down too. And potentially you let our Constitution dangle out there in the wind, the shreds of it that are left. Because basically everything is up to Biden now. So we just have to hope, I guess, that Biden kind of does a continuation of Obama's administration, which is at the very least, he doesn't get prosecuted and persecuted, because Obama understood the mainstream media conveyed their concern that if you do that to Assange, then any of us can be held liable the moment that a president that gets in that doesn't align with our views takes over. So it's just very disappointing overall. Bethlehem, thank you very much for the tip. I greatly appreciate it. Judd Hurst, what's going on? Thank you very much for the tip. Bethlehem said, besides doing the right thing, it would have been a big FU to the Dems. I 100% agree. Like, that's what's bizarre to me. That is mind blowing. You had such a very unique opportunity to do something that would have went down in history as one of the boldest, most, just bold, not only bold, but like, it would have been a domino, because I think everybody has kind of accepted that, like, a lot of the reason we're not getting new information on the WikiLeaks is because Julian Assange is kind of jammed up. And I'm sure they're in need of some direction, and almost all of their resources are tied into Julian Assange. And I'm sure that although I know they don't turn away information if it's valid, but I'm sure that they are maybe a little bit more hesitant because they don't want to give the prosecution any more ammo to put Julian Assange behind bars. I mean, keep him there, I should say. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.